stand broke. Well, it's been a little while. How have you guys been doing? Man, 2020 has really messed a lot of things up with regards to, well, a lot of things obviously, but man, training has just not been great the whole of 2020. The vast majority of it anyways. You know, there was a lot of plans that I had training wise, and you know, hopefully I was gonna get my Master of Sport in 2020, but it just didn't happen. I mean, the biggest thing for me with 2020 and trying to get enough training in was getting enough training in. The consistency was kind of all over the place. Sometimes it was good, sometimes not as good. At the end of 2019, we had our second child, which was amazing, of course. But now, scheduling wise, getting down here to train for a couple of hours became very, very difficult. So, boy, oh boy, to find the time to get down here and train how I wanted to for the length of time that I wanted to is quite the challenge, let me tell you. But you know what, making it work now. The one thing I discovered very late December, early January, what I've been doing now is waking up at 4:30 in the morning. That's what I need to do now to actually get training done, is to wake up at 4:30 so I have enough time to get myself down to my garage here and get my training in. And it was an adjustment to wake up that early. Usually I was more of a 5:30 waking up kind of guy, but so 4:30 wasn't too much of a stretch. Give me a second here. Yeah, so then that way I'm able to actually get my training in if I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and make my way down here. Because what was happening, I would wake up around 5:30, and by the time I get to the gym down here in my garage, I would maybe have time to warm up, maybe do a set or two, and then my oldest would come in. And, you know, at that point I had to start making breakfast for the family, and that would be it for training that day. So, a lot of interrupted training sessions I've had. And it's just no fun. You know, I would get a little bit frustrated and yeah, no fun. So, adjusting my sleep schedule to go to bed a little earlier so I can wake up a little earlier, so far is working out well, actually. Still having trouble falling asleep on time to get, you know, my proper 8 hours. It's what I would like to have, is 8 hours. I still have yet to have that, but I'm managing and things are going well. So I haven't, so the big, so addressing the elephant in the room, why haven't I posted any of the training vlogs in the last year almost? Basically just comes down to just timing. It wasn't a priority to sit down in front of the computer, which is slow already, and to create these videos when I had an extra kid here and I'm, you know, needed elsewhere. So unfortunately something had to give, and that was it, unfortunately. Doesn't mean I like doing those videos. It's something that I really quite enjoy, quite frankly. But, you know, family comes first, obviously. So it was an easy decision in that sense. and even then, just the vlogs, but also like a lot of the tutorials that I wanted to do, yeah, just kind of fell by the wayside. I did one tutorial last year, which was a chopping video, which I'm working on the kettlebells right now. You can see that. But it was funny because I actually had filmed that back in probably May or April, and only had time to edit and publish it. I think it was October when I did that. So as you can see, not a lot of spare time to do these kinds of projects. Look at that gross jack. So training, how has training gone? Well, overall, like I was saying, not that great over the last year and change. Just because, yeah, consistency has been kind of has been a challenge. And you know what? There's been a couple of injuries and setbacks along the way. So that's been, you know, difficult to deal with. A lot of them just because I'm cooking a lot more at home and I'm enjoying cooking a lot more. I'm a little clumsy sometimes with my chef's knife, so little cuts and scrapes on my fingers have kept me from doing any snatches or long cycles sometimes, so I had to alter my training in those days. A few months ago I had a little bit of a shoulder issue, so I didn't really lift a little bit for, you know, about a month and a half or so, so I had to go see my chiro buddy to help me out with that. What else? Wrist sometimes acting up a little bit when I was starting to get a little bit more serious with the kettlebells, and yeah, that caused some pain there, so I've had to kind of set back a little bit there, kind of tape my wrist for a little bit to help mitigate some of the pain. But overall, things have been going well for this past month, January. So much so now that this Saturday is the Pan Ams here in the Americas. So I enrolled in that. It's my first competition in a long time, and I am going to be doing long cycle with the 28s. So I am just prepping my kettlebells ahead of time so that they're ready to go for me on Saturday when I do my sets. Now, thankfully, or not thankfully, you know, a lot of these competitions now that are coming out are online only. So that's just makes it easier for people so that they don't have to, well, obviously now because of the pandemic it's necessary, but also, you know, a lot of times there's now competitions that I could enroll in and compete in that I otherwise could not have because of travel. So the one this weekend are the Pan Ams, so you know, everybody in the Americas are competing in the same competition, which is great. So I'm doing long cycle 28 kilo. I did a test set last month or early this month, I can't remember. And 10 minutes, I start up at a snail's pace. And I got, I think it was 46 reps. So 4 RPM kind of all the way through, and then the last minute just sprinted. So things like that made it promising that, okay, I think 28 kilo is the bell to start with for competition wise. So here we are. I've been competing a lot. I've been training a lot with the 28 and more recently, maybe the last week or two, with the 32s as well. And so far so good, honestly. And it's nice to be able to train more consistently and starting to see some results again, which has been sorely lacking the last year and change, and you know, prior to as well. So this is nice. So now, 2 days prior to the competition, I'm just resting. I had my last training day, real training day yesterday, and you know, I've been upping the intensity and lowering the volume this past little bit as I'm trying to taper and peak for the competition itself. So trying to keep intensity high and volume low so that I don't wear my body down, so to speak, and I am in as best shape possible to peak on this Saturday. So my goal, I want to try to get at least 70. That's my goal, but to get CMS at my weight division, my weight class, I think I need at least 64 or something like mid-60s, something like that, which I think is doable. So we'll see. I'm going to start off at 7 RPM and see where that leads me. Hopefully it leads me to the full 10 minutes at 7 RPM and hopefully an extra rep or two there in the last minute. So I was looking back at some of my training videos, and back in 2010, August 2010, I did a set of long cycle with the 28s, and I got 71 reps. So, I mean, almost 11 years later, it'd be nice to at least be back to where I was 11 years later. You know, God, this has been such a roller coaster, this whole kettlebell sport for me, you know. Doing it for a number of years, but then getting injured along the way, and eventually having to stop completely because of back pain, and then starting up again, getting distracted, stopping, then starting again. So lots of distractions, but now I'm really trying to focus and I'm trying to achieve my goals of finally getting master sport in all the disciplines, because that's been a dream of mine for quite a long time, and you know, I still have a ways to go. You know, because back when I started, you can only get master sport in either biathlon or long cycle. So those are still the goals. Now, I did get my master of sport designation a little over a year ago in snatch only. So that was cool. Wasn't something that was really planning on, to be quite frank. I think also because I had been rock climbing a lot prior to and bouldering and things like that, my grip had just gotten so much stronger and I had so much more endurance in my forearms from climbing so often that snatches came easy to me after that. You know, just tweaking a couple of things with my technique, and boy, it just was relatively simple. I say relatively simple, but still hard, but it was doable. It was pretty good. So, yeah. I haven't really climbing much just because gyms are closed, and I haven't climbed a heck of a lot either. And I do have a hangboard above me, but it has been the focus of my training lately. It's been pretty much all kettlebells. So that's where my intent is and where my focus is, quite frankly, with regards to training. Man, it's been a while since I've shot these guys. This one's going pretty well. So with regards to these videos, how often am I going to do them now? I'll be honest, doing them once a week again, I don't think that's feasible for me anymore. Because it is a bit of a time commitment. And all the training that I've done since the last training vlog, which I think was in May last year, or March, can't remember. I have been actually still recording every single session. And let me tell you, that folder on my computer is taking up a lot of room. So I think I checked something like 340 different files and about, 75, 76 gigs worth of video files. So let's just say to edit all of those into one massive video is not going to happen. There's no way I'm doing that, and I think my computer would literally explode if I were to try to import all of those into the video editing software. and it would just take me way too long to put all that stuff together. So this is kind of a video explaining that, and hopefully you forgive me for not posting all of the training that I've had the last year. Honestly, it's not that interesting. This last month though was actually pretty good, pretty promising overall. Some other things I've changed this particular month, and I've started training more seriously again, is that I've actually started to reintroduce my supplements. So creatine and beta-alanine is what I take. Just putting it out there. They're all sport legal, of course. There's nothing wrong with that, and it's working out. The only downside with creatine is that it has a little bit more muscle hypertrophy as a side effect with it. And although it's desirable for a lot of people, for kettlebell sport it's not necessarily the greatest thing, because with excess muscle bulk, it can change your form a little bit. Like especially if you have let's say bigger biceps or something, it might offset the kettlebells a little bit and change how you rest in the rack position and make it a little bit more undesirable for you. Not to say my biceps are jacked by any means, they are not, but just saying. But with muscle hypertrophy comes weight gain. So now I'm retaining a little bit more water, which means that I am now slightly heavier, which as you can see in a sport with weight classes, can pose some challenges, to put it at least. So right now I'm, quite frankly, still the heaviest I've ever been. And although I don't eat a lot of junk food, I just eat a lot of food, and I'm just always in the caloric surplus, I find. And so right now I'm walking around around 230, 235. So it's pretty heavy for me. Actually, it's not, I lie, it's not the heaviest I've been, but it's pretty close to. As when I first started kettlebell sport, man, I was in, high 190s or so. So I would compete in the 90 kilo weight class. Now I'm in the 100, 105 kilo weight class, which is just ridiculous. But it is what it is. I'm a heavyweight now. Gosh. So it's all good, I guess. But yeah, so I think for making these training videos, I'll put them back. I'll try to do maybe a monthly update. So this would be my first video back, kind of explain where I've been the last year. And I think that the next video I'll post my set from Saturday. First I have to wait till it's judged and everything and get the all clear, and then I'll post that video to show everybody my set from the Pan Ams competition. And then I'll just do probably a monthly update. So at the beginning of the month I'll talk about how things have been going the previous month and show some clips from it as well. I think that's what I'm going to do. It'll be a little bit more manageable for me and a little bit easier for you to watch as well if everything's just kind of combined and you just see things in, little in microcycles instead of just literally every single week here's the entire set. So a little bit more manageable on both ends. So we'll try that out. Let me know if that's something that you enjoy or not, and we'll keep that going. And yeah. Thanks so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I gotta chuck the second bell here, so if you want to stick around and watch me do that, feel free. But until next time. It got cold in the meantime, so I was trying to rewind the bell a little bit. And I think people who enjoy charging their kettlebells or find it just meditative are probably the same people who enjoy seasoning cast iron or carbon steel skillets. My wife thinks I'm crazy for, always dedicating so much time to seasoning, cleaning my skillets, but I don't know, I think it kind of makes sense. If I'm, this meticulous about a kettlebell handle, I'm that meticulous about my skillets. But I'm also obsessed with skillets. waste a good chunk. There we go. Ready for the weekend.